You ever move somewhere quiet, too quiet? That was Granger Hollow, a town that looked like it was plucked straight out of a postcard from the 1950s. White fences, porches with rocking chairs, big trees with leaves that turned every shade of red come fall. It was perfect, disturbingly perfect. I moved there in early October, chasing peace after a brutal divorce. Just me, my dog Max, and an old house at the edge of town that needed work but came cheap. Cheap always comes with a price. The first sign something was off? No Halloween decorations. Not one pumpkin. Not a single cobweb on a mailbox. Every house was dark and neutral, like the entire town forgot October existed. It was bizarre, especially for a place that looked like it should have starred in a Hallmark fall special. I asked my neighbor Ms. Delaney about it while I was putting up a string of orange lights across my front porch. She was in her 70s, always peeking out her blinds. She stared at the lights and then at me like I'd drawn a pentagram on the lawn. "We don't celebrate that here," she said. "Not since '95. "Why? Religious thing?" She shook her head slowly. "You weren't here. You wouldn't understand. But if you know what's good for you, take those lights down before nightfall." I laughed, but she wasn't joking. She turned and went inside without another word. So yeah, I took the lights down. I wasn't scared. Not yet. Just weirded out. Curious. That night I started digging. No one online mentioned anything about a Halloween ban in Granger Hollow. No articles, no Reddit threads, nothing. Like the town had erased that part of its history. But the deeper I dug, the more I started to see cracks. Old newspaper scans from 1995 were just missing. Pages ripped from archives. Microfiche reels with that week mysteriously corrupted. But there was one small blog run by a former local journalist who had moved out of state. It hadn't been updated since 2006, but one post stood out. October 31st, 1995, they walked into the fog and never walked back out. That was it. No context. Just a date, a line, and a tag. Broadleaf Drive. I asked around the next day. Everyone clammed up the moment I said that street name. One guy at the hardware store muttered, "Don't go poking around places that don't poke back. Let sleeping ghosts sleep." I didn't listen, because something was already watching me. It started with footsteps, light ones, like kids running past my house late at night. Max would growl at the window, ears up, tail stiff. When I looked, nothing was there. No giggling, no neighbors, just wind. Then the candy appeared. Little piles on my front porch. Classic Halloween stuff. Fun-size Snickers, candy corn in sandwich bags, a lone Tootsie Roll crushed flat. No note. Just sitting there, like some invisible kid had gone trick-or-treating alone and left me the spoils. By the third night, there were footprints in the dew. Tiny ones, bare feet. I started locking my doors, double-checking the windows. Max wouldn't leave my side. The silence in town got heavier. And then, I saw them. October 30th, just past midnight. I woke up to Max barking like he was ready to tear the door down. I stumbled to the front window, bleary-eyed, heart thudding. There were figures at the end of my driveway, 4, maybe 5, children, just standing there. But it wasn't right. Their costumes were faded, old, torn polyester superhero suits. A witch hat that drooped like it had been in the rain for years. One had a plastic jack-o'-lantern pail clutched tight. They didn't move, didn't sway, just stared at the house, at me. And I swear to God, the plastic pail started to melt, slowly, like it was sitting over a fire I couldn't see. I blinked and they were gone. No sound, no footsteps, nothing. I didn't sleep that night. I tried calling the sheriff the next day. He let the phone ring 8 times, picked up, and then said, "Don't answer the door tomorrow night," before hanging up. That was all he said. Just that. Don't answer the door. October 31st arrived like a cold breath on the back of my neck. The whole town seemed to hold its breath. Schools were closed. The post office shut down early. Even the gas station, normally open 24/7, flipped its sign to closed before the sun dipped behind the trees. Granger Hollow vanished into itself. Doors locked, curtains drawn, no street lights, no porch lights, just darkness. It was like the entire town was hiding from something it didn't dare name. And me? I was too far in to back out. I didn't decorate. I didn't play music. I didn't even turn on a single light. I sat in my living room with Max curled at my feet, holding a flashlight and a baseball bat like a fool trying to fight off a legend. At 8:14 p.m., the doorbell rang. Not a knock. A ding-dong, high-pitched and cheerful like it was being played on an old music box that hadn't been dusted off since the Reagan administration. Max went rigid. He growled, but didn't bark. He didn't even move, just watched the front door. I didn't answer. I sat there, sweating, listening to the silence stretch and warp until I thought I might scream. Then came the second ring, and the third, each spaced about a minute apart. Mechanical, patient, ding-dong, ding-dong, ding-dong. At 8:22, the power went out. The flashlight flickered. Max began whining low in his throat. He backed into the corner like he was trying to disappear into the wall. I could hear something on the porch now, the rustling of plastic, soft shuffling feet, the creak of floorboards beneath a weight that felt wrong. Then the voices started, children whispering, just on the other side of the door, but not excited or playful, chanting, something simple, repeating. Trick or treat, we want to eat. Let us in and taste the sweet. Again and again, over and over, slowly, softly, like it was a song they'd sung for years, long after their mouths had dried up and their bodies had rotted. I wanted to move, wanted to run out the back door, but I couldn't. My legs wouldn't work. I just sat there as still as Max, as the temperature dropped and the whispers slithered into my brain like smoke. Then, the doorknob turned. No knocking now. Just steady, deliberate pressure, back and forth, trying to find the weakness. That's when I remembered Broadleaf Drive, the blog, the line. They walked into the fog and never walked back out. I grabbed my keys, scooped Max into my arms like a child, and bolted through the back. The town was pitch black, not even moonlight, but I knew how to get there. Something in me wanted to go, needed to. The fog came fast, cold, wet, thick like cotton stuffed down your throat. As I ran, shapes moved between the houses. Costumes from decades ago, glow-in-the-dark skeletons, werewolves with matted fur, plastic devil masks half melted. They watched me, but didn't follow. Not yet. Broadleaf Drive was a dead end, overgrown with weeds, fenced off with rusted chain link and a padlock that looked fused shut with age. Beyond it, just a field, flat and empty, except a door, just standing in the middle of the field, freestanding, a wood frame, Victorian, the paint peeled, the brass knob dulled with time, nothing behind it, just door, fog, and ground. The whispering stopped, dead silence. Then the chanting resumed, but louder. Not from the porch now, not from behind me, from every direction. Trick or treat, we want to eat. Let us in and taste the sweet. They were coming. Hundreds of them. I don't know what possessed me, but I ran to the door. I grabbed the knob. It was warm, pulsing, like it had a heartbeat. I flung it open and they were inside. Not behind me, not following me. Inside the door. A hallway stretched beyond the threshold, impossibly long, with yellow wallpaper, flickering lights, and candy scattered across a red rug like breadcrumbs. At the far end was a mirror, and in the mirror, I saw myself. Only it wasn't me anymore. It was them, the kids. Dozens of them, stitched together in my skin. Their eyes where my eyes should be. Their hands reaching out from within my chest. One wore a mask with my face on it, grinning too wide. They pointed, and they said in my voice, "You opened the door. You let us in. Now you get to wear the costume." I slammed it shut, but it was too late. I came back to my house around 3 a.m. The lights were on again. Max was calm. Everything was where I left it. Except the mirror in the hallway? I can see them in it. They're still behind that door, smiling, waiting. And now, every October, they visit. Not just me. I see it in the town now, how people keep their heads down, why they never say what happened, why the porches stay dark. They think silence will keep the costumes asleep, but they're wrong. One door opened is all it takes. And once you hear that doorbell, ding dong, you've already put on the mask.